Good stage makeup is essential, and under stage lights, every detail or mistake is magnified. Whether you're on camera, on stage, or under a spotlight, this is one skill you really don't want to get wrong. Hey, I'm Rainix, and today I'm breaking down the classic stage makeup performer look, the one that every actor, singer, or dancer needs to know and have in their toolkit. And I'm going to walk you through some of the basics, share my favorite tips and tricks, and show you exactly what products you're going to want to use to get a clean, defined, long-lasting look that holds up under the sweat and the lighting. Whether you're just starting out or you want to tighten up your routine, this tutorial's got you covered.
Today, we're going to be going over a classic basic stage makeup, something that you'd probably use in a musical, something more similar to what I do in Million Dollar Quartet. However, every single show, as I'm sure you guys know, has their own kind of makeup and what you need. So I go a little more vintage for Million Dollar Quartet. I obviously go more androgynous with a big, heavy black smoky eye for our show. If you're doing something that's more of a character role, you may have a different style makeup. Obviously, Elphaba is green, right? She doesn't even have this, but a lot of the basics still apply. One of my favorite ride or die products that I've probably used for the last 10 years to just prep and exfoliate my skin is the Dr. Dennis Gross peel pads. These are the extra strength just because I have really dry skin. So I go in and I just rub it all over your face. Skin is not in the best shape as it usually is. It's probably actually a good thing because if I had great skin, I wouldn't be able to show you all the tips and tricks to how to help your skin. Our skin is always going to end up having flare-ups and it's always going to end up having some kind of problem. So I'm going to show you how to kind of fix that. We're just going to let this sit for a couple minutes and then we're going to go in with part 2.
5 minutes later.
All right, so now that I've had this sitting for a couple minutes, I am going to use step 2 for this and just also wipe it all over my face. If I am doing a black smoky eye like I do for our show, I typically hang on to this step 2 because I can clean up my edges of my big black cat wing at the very end, using this before I put all my foundation on because I typically do my black smoky eye first, so if there's any fallout or anything, I can clean it up with this. And so typically I'll just take a corner of it and I'll just tighten up my black wing liner, get all that off before I start. Now that we have clean, dry skin, I am going to go in with my all-time favorite product. This is Mayron's Skin Prep Pro. I love this. You need to have clean, dry skin. I do this before moisturizer, before anything, because this is going to basically kind of seal your pores and it's like no sweat. So you won't sweat, you won't do anything. I give it a good shake. And I'm gonna put it on a cotton round. And seriously, this stuff has saved my butt most shows. Especially when I'm doing Madonna and my eyebrows are glued down. So for any of you drag queens, drag kings out there, anything that you've got to glue your eyebrows down for, this is a great product. So I'm just going to put this on my cotton pad. I saturate it because your skin is going to start to feel really dry and tight. And that is what you want. If you're not feeling dry and tight, you have not put enough on. I also love to use this down my neck and on the back of my neck where I put my mic tape to hold my mic and everything in place. So once that's done, I just give it a second to dry. I personally don't go in with any moisturizer on top of this just because I don't want to risk breaking it up or doing anything. But if you want to do a light moisturizer, you can. Just make sure that this is fully dry and set. I love to use the Dior Backstage Primer and Foundation. This is my current favorite because, like I said, having dry skin, sometimes the Krylon TV sticks, any kind of cream TV stick sort of makeup does not work for me. I find that the TV sticks, even when I warm them up and I blend them in, they typically break up and they show my pores and I get really bad creasing. So for me personally, I love a good liquid foundation. I can blend it, I can build the coverage, I can do everything. We're going pretty full coverage today because this is theater makeup. We're gonna get started. I like to put just a little bit on the back of my hand and then I'm gonna go in all over my face. It's not too hydrating, but it has a nice feel to it. Once you've got your primer on, my 2 favorite things that I like to start with are my color correctors. I'm gonna do one in my under eyes. I have very deep, dark circles. Naturally, I just have really thin skin under there. And I'm just gonna blend that out with my finger, kind of cancel out all those blue and purple colors. And then from there, I am going to go in to any of my redness and I'm going to use my green. I really love these e.l.f. ones. This is something that you can save money on color correctors. You don't need a lot, but I'm just tapping wherever I have some redness. You want to kind of blend it till the green tint is basically gone. It's going to cancel out the redness and kind of make a skin tone color. It still may be a little off color and that is okay. All right, and I consider that a really good base prep. We may look a little crazy right now, but we're not gonna stay that way. Sometimes I like to start with my concealer and then do my foundation on top. Other times I like to do it the other way around. There's no right or wrong answer. Today I'm going to start with my foundation, which is the Dior Backstage Foundation. This is in 0.5N. Do about that much, and that gets me really good full coverage. I just like to take it and stipple it on a brush, and I tap that around. And one thing I don't hear a lot of people talk about, I personally do, it drives me nuts and I see it with other people, is make sure you go down your neck, but then I also take the brush and not just go down my neck, but depending on how long your wig is and everything, I also go around the back of my neck a little bit, just because it drives me nuts if you ever see a line here or a line here. And I go into my ears because your ears do have some redness, especially if you're very fair like I am. And on stage, you'll have this gorgeous face and you'll have red ears, and nobody wants that. Now that you've got your foundation on, and by the way, this is the brush that I am using. I'm pretty sure it's just a basic e.l.f. blending brush, ultimate blending brush. Very simple, very easy. I just like that it's a flat top, sort of dome shape. It's just really nice for getting full coverage. I'm now gonna go in with my concealer. And my concealer is of course the matching Dior concealer. I think this is my 4th refill with this. And I am using the shade 0N. And I'm gonna take this right under the eyes, cancel out the rest of that. I do the tip of my nose, do a little bit on the bridge. I also like to give just a natural wing in the folds because I get some darkness. I do the chin to brighten it up, and then just kind of anywhere else a little bit of breaking out or redness still peeking through. I wouldn't really call this a full underpaint, though sometimes I do underpaint fully, and that is great. I underpaint for our show and whenever I'm doing characters, but for a lot of the classic makeup, I don't do a heavy underpainting. I'm just going to take my concealer brush. This is a Sephora brush, and I love this brush. This brush is really great because it kind of mimics the shape of the finger, and I find that it just blends out really well and really fast. And that is our base. When it comes to contour, I really find contour very subjective depending on the show. So when I do our show, I do really harsh, chiseled, trying to make myself a little more masculine and androgynous. When I do $1 Million Quartet, I don't do a lot of contour because that was not something for that era. So I just do a little bit to try and like make myself look more full and round and cute, and really emphasize where the blush and the cheeks are. So for general, just kind of stage makeup, if you're a little bit more of yourself, I like to do something that is just complementary to whatever the features are on your face. So that's what we're gonna do today. I love the Westman Atelier contour sticks, but I have found that the Sephora contour stick is a really, really good dupe for the Westman Atelier ones, and they're just really buttery and creamy, and they come in a cool tone color, which is great for us fair-skinned people. I struggle massively to find good contour shades that don't pull too orange. This is the shade Fair to Light. I go right under my cheekbone right there, and then I do the temples, and I come under my chin, right in the front, and then just right in the back of the jaw. A little bit on the nose. I typically give myself kind of a little bit of a Marilyn nose. I don't go like too tiny on the bridge. It's kind of already the shape of my nose. I just give a little more emphasis, and I come up, and then I do right there in the Cupid's bow and right under my lips, so that way they look a little bit fuller and poutier on stage. I'm then gonna go in with my contour brush. This is just an e.l.f. contour brush. I really like it because it is thin and flat, and it's very dense. And I like to just take this and I kind of just tap and blend upward, not to disturb anything we've already done too much. And you don't want to over blend out all your contours or everything, because again, once you have those stage lights, it's really gonna start to wash everything out. It's okay to have a little bit harsher of a streak or something like that, because once the stage lights hit, it's gonna look really beautiful. You'll look a little crazy in person, but you look great on stage. I really, really enjoy these cream contour sticks from Sephora. And they also have some really nice brushes. We hit under the jaw. We do not want a streak under the jaw. We just want a nice shadow. And then I like to take just a little bit down into my neck, just again, so it's nicely blended. Finish blending out our nose. I'm gonna use the edge of the brush. So I really like this brush because it's so flat and dense. I can really use it in such a versatile manner, no matter where the contour is. And we'll just blend it with our finger a little bit more. Now we have a cute little nose. Now that we have all this, like I said, I'm not doing a full underpaint. So typically I'll just go in with a cream contour. So that way they really, really pop. All the features really, really pop. We're gonna go in and we're gonna set all this. If I was doing a really heavy underpaint, I'd also go in with highlight. I'll show you at least what I like to use for a highlight. I'm not talking glowy highlighter. But if you want a liquid glowy highlighter, I love this one. This is by NYX, and this is their Born to Glow. This is fantastic. I will actually use some right now. I put a little bit on the back of my hand. You don't need a lot. I just tap it in my finger, and I just go on the high points. I love this actually for a really natural glow and shine on stage, especially if I'm not going in with like full contour or highlight the way I do for some characters. Nose, bridge of the lip, bottom of the chin, go right above the brow, give a little bit of a lifted feel. If I'm doing a full cream highlight, like actually highlighting, accentuating features, I actually am really enjoying these House Loud ones. I have one in white, though it doesn't look very white. I have sort of a neutral, natural shade for my skin tone. And then I do have a very dark contour shade. And what I like to do is I like to mix the three of these to get my own custom colors. So that way, no matter what the character or the show is, I always have what color I need. Now it is time to set our base. My all-time favorite ride or die product in my makeup case, probably other than the Dr. Dennis Rose Peels, is this powder by Lancome. If you have dry skin, this is my all-time favorite powder. It does not show your dry skin. It just blurs your pores. I love it so much. This is the Long Time No Shine Matte Powder. I can't even tell you how many of these I have had, probably gone through a dozen reorders. I am just gonna take some of my powder on my brush, tap it off, and I'm gonna start by setting under the eye and kind of around all my crease points. We don't want creasing. And I go pretty heavy on my powder for stage because I really want it to set. I don't want it transferring onto costumes. I don't want it slipping and sliding all over my face. I want it to kind of hold through all the sweat and working out that we're doing up there. But that's what I love about this powder is it doesn't get thick and cakey. And now we're all set. Also, the brush that I am using is from Sephora. It is their Brush Sculpt 99. This is my favorite brush because I love that it's got this nice, it tapers in each direction, sort of soft triangle shape. So it's really good for getting in under the eyes and around things. I love it so much. I'm actually going to use this brush, the other one, for my contour, and I'm going to use it with one of my other favorite Sephora products, and that is their powder contour. This is also in the color Fair to Light, but matches the cream contour really well, and it's a nice natural cool tone. I'm just going to start in the same points. I start a little bit farther back, and I keep the shadow a little bit farther back so the very tops and hollows of those cheekbones really pop. You can blend the rest kind of down and in. And again, you can leave those contours a little bit harsher because once those stage lights hit, it's going to get really bright and you want to make sure that your features still pop. I hit just a little bit of the temples under the jaw. For my nose, I take a tiny little blender brush for eyes. This one's from Real Techniques. I then use this to deepen up the contour on my nose. Give that button nose. I also go around with this one, my nostrils, just a little bit, and then I come up and out, completing our cute little button. And then I just blend. Center of my Cupid's bow, and then I just hit just underneath the deepest part of my lip. We've got our contours done. Now I like to add some color back into my face as well. My favorite bronzer that I've been using for lighter skin is from Flower Beauty, and this is Heat Wave. It doesn't pull too orange on fair skin tones. I am going to use my big fluffy brush from e.l.f. This is called Flawless Face. You want to do your bronzer on all the highest points of your face, things that the sun would naturally hit. Lightly add some color to my face. Nose, just a little bit on the forehead. You want to just bring back some of that color and dimension so when you're on stage you look like a human and not a blob. Next we gotta do our blush. For blush, I love my blush palette from Tarte. It's about a bajillion years old. It is really great having a blush palette because depending on what color I need and the character I'm doing, I have a couple different options because a lot of times it depends on also what colors I'm doing on my eyes, so everything is complementary and matches. My current favorite that I've been using kind of for everything is from NARS. There's a really pretty shimmer in it. This is called Orgasm, just a soft, pretty pink with a little bit of a gold shimmer. And I just go in and I kind of deepen up my cheeks. Depending on the show, it's going to depend where you place your blush. I like to do the bottom of my nose, just like Marilyn, help enhance that button nose. And then I go just a little bit on the high points of my brow. I kind of lift it a little bit on the cheek. And the brush that I am using for my blush is also an e.l.f. blush brush. I love that it has a nice tapered angle to it. It is time for some eyes, brows, and lips. I'm going to show you a really good, basic, simple eye. Eyes are very subjective depending on the show. So this is just a good, classic eye look for any show. My favorite palette does not exist anymore. So I'm going to show you the new one that I got, though I do want to say I have noticed it does have a little bit of fallout. out. So you may either want to do your eyes first, or you may want to set something underneath, really tap off your brush. The palette that I am currently using is from Morphe, and it is the Nude Ambition palette. This is a great palette. It's got all your basics in it. I've been using it for a few weeks now, and I really like it. The black does have a little bit of fallout, which I'm sure you can see because the palette is already kind of looking crazy. I am also going to go in with my favorite eye primer. This is the Urban Decay Primer Potion. I've used this for I can't even tell you how long. If there's any other primers that you guys really like, let me know in the comments down below. But I found that this one just works really well for me, and it's very easy to apply and put on. And I just take my finger and I just blend it. I'm going to start by going in with my favorite Urban Decay double-ended brush. I don't know if you can still get them anymore, but any good fluffy brush like this will do the job great. And I'm going to go in with lightest shade, and I'm just going to sweep this all over the lid. So I have a nice solid base, tapping off the excess. From here, I'm going to take my big fluffy brush. This is from Morphe. This is the M453 brush. Love this brush. I'm going to go in with Sheer Genius, and I'm just going to start to build out my crease. I'm going to keep it very light and open because we want our eyes really big and open on stage. So I'm sweeping that up and through the crease, making sure to leave a lot of space on the lid. This is going to start to give, and I'm just really starting to work the hollow of the socket. Also, don't be afraid, especially if you have hooded eyes, to go slightly above your socket or your crease line, so that way you have more space. Especially on stage, stuff like that is really easy to fake. So now that we have that color down, I'm going to start to go in with some darker colors. I am now going to go in using my Morphe M507 brush. This is like a tapered blending crease brush. That's how I use it. I'm going to go in with Best Asset, which is down here. And I'm just going to start to deepen up that crease. Just take your time and build up. We're going to continue to darken up that crease. I'm going to go in with my next Morphe brush. This is the Morphe M562 brush. This is an even smaller, thinner version of the last brush. I use a very light hand with this brush. I'm going to go in with the shade Laid Bare. Come in to the deepest part of the crease. So now that this shape is looking a little crazy, we've got one more step, and that is I like to take my Kat Von D Shade and Light brush, and I take the pointy end of the Shade and Light brush to start, and I'm going to go in that same color that we just used, and I'm just using this to make the most specific part of the crease. From here, I'm going to take my original blending brush, and I'm going to add a little bit more of Sheer Genius onto that brush, and I'm going to just sweep that across all this so I can start to blend it out. You can see it just starts to soften that up. All right, so that's starting to look really good. It's a nice strong eye, and on stage, once you have the lights, it's just gonna read really nicely. To finish up is I like to take the clean side of the Shade and Light brush, and I just run that through, just kind of finalizing, blending everything out just a little bit more. To help enhance these eyes, I'm going to take my flat brush. This is a Sephora brush. It's basically just a flat shader brush. Any flat shader brush will do. And I am going to go in with silver streaking, and I'm going to lay that all over my lid. So that way my highlight is highlighting and my contour and my crease is contouring. You can also use like a solid white is really good. One of my favorites, which is in my palette up on my wall right now that I use a lot, is from Ben Nye. It's a little round one. They have a pearl white and like a pearl gold. Those are probably my favorite of all time. For today, I am showing you with just one palette. And I drag that shimmer out all the way through so that way it keeps the eye really open all the way through to the edge. And if you feel like maybe you've lost your contour a little bit, you can either go in with your pointed side of your Shade and Light brush or your thin blending brush, and you can just kind of take whatever's left and just slightly deepen up and redefine that crease. And I just go back in, I just blend all that out. I'm also going to take that flat shader brush with that shade Untouchable, the very first shade that we covered our entire lid with, and I'm just going to use it to highlight my brow bone. I also want to let you guys know that if you ever have to do like a really shimmery, glittery eye for stage, that 2 of the best products that I have found right now are from Morphe and from Juvia's Place. Both of these stay, they don't crease, they pop on stage, they are gorgeous. This is from Morphe. It is double-ended, so it has the glitter on one side, and it has sort of a base on the other side. Really, really fantastic. Before that, my favorite glitter product for eyes or lips was from NYX. I use their glitter primer and just their loose glitters. They look so beautiful on stage. They're just a little bit harder to take off and they're a little bit messier, but they are definitely worth it. So any of those 3 options to give yourself some sparkle on stage is really great too. Okay, so now it is time for your liner. I really like to use a liquid liner. I try and make sure that they're waterproof a lot of the time, especially if you're doing a lot of sweating on stage. I'm currently trying out and really liking actually the NYX Epic liquid liner in Very Black. This is waterproof. We're just gonna go for a classic wing. You really wanna emphasize your eyes. They're the windows to your soul. You wanna make sure that they're seen and that they're being read on stage, even all the way to the balcony, even all the way to the back row. So I do a good, solid, classic wing shape. I just kind of start. Line the whole lash line. Get started. If you kind of just follow that hollow of your socket line, which kind of goes from the bottom of your lash line to the edge of your brow, it'll give you a really good guide for your wing shape. And I basically like to go till I connect it to that crease line that we did in the hollow of our socket. And now you've got your cat eyes. Before we go in with our lashes and our mascara, we've got 2 more things that we've got to do, and that's for the lower lash line. I like to take this eye pencil from Flower Beauty, and I like to put this in my waterline on my lower lash line. This is in Moonlight, and it really just helps wake up and open and brighten the eyes. It's not a bright white, so it looks really natural. And I just run this through my lower waterline. This just also helps open up the eyes on stage. I'm then going to take a winged liner brush. You can use any winged liner brush. This is from Jessup. This is just something I got off Amazon for when I do face painting, but it's worked great. And I'm going to go back into this palette. I'm going to go into Best Assets, and I'm going to kind of do what Marilyn Monroe did. I also really like to use my contour color for this. So if you prefer your contour color, that also works. And I'm just going to run this underneath my lash line. And I'm going to leave a little space. I'm going to make like a little wing. And that's going to help give us a little shadow, make our lashes look very full but very heavy on stage. Also going to make our eyes look just a little bit bigger. I take any just small flat kind of shader brush and I go in with either a white, or in this case I'll go in with Untouchable, and I'm going to just highlight the space in between my eyeliner and that line that we just made, and then just blend it out. And that's going to give you almost that doughy big eye. Really helps define the eyes. From here, we can go in with our mascara. So I'm using the Lancome Hypnostrama. This is one of my favorite mascaras, and I'm just going to go in and I am just going to coat my lashes. Sometimes I do go in to my upper waterline and line it with black just to really make it solid, but for the most part, I don't find that makes a difference, and I like to keep my eyes as open as possible. So for stage, I don't really worry about it. I just worry about doing Moonlight in my lower waterline. Man, I gotta get a new tube of mascara. I am almost out. While our lashes dry, before we add our falsies, I'm going to do my brows. Like everything else in this tutorial, I do my brows a little bit thicker and a little bit bolder for stage because, again, I want all my features on stage to read. So I personally am going in with the Anastasia Brow Wiz. This is in the shade Auburn, and I like it because it has this nice little pointed tip so I can draw them in. And I'm just going to go in and I do little brush strokes, but I do it in the shape, creating a full line underneath. so I can start to give that brow some definition. I will sometimes use a brow gel. I'm not today, honestly, because I forgot. But my favorite brow gel, if you want to use a brow gel to set them first, so they're a little fluffier and in place, is the Kosas Air Brow. Honestly, I really love it. I use it actually almost every show. I can't believe I forgot today, but I'll normally put this in before I start my foundation and everything, just so it has time to set and dry. And then I'll go in with this at the very end after this is all dry. But this is a great product. So if you are looking for a good brow gel, I really like this one. With that being said, we're not using it today because I forgot. And we're going to continue to go in with our brow pencil, making nice light strokes, defining the top of the brow. And then same thing to the other side. Gently fluff through them. And just remember, they're cousins, not twins, so don't stress too much. Brows are now done. When it comes to falsies, you can use your glue-on Ardell's, which we've used for a million years, and they're fantastic, but also the shape and the look of your falsies will definitely depend on what role you're playing, and also your eye shape and how you want to look. For me personally, I no longer use glue-on lashes. I had a terrible experience when I was on set, and it eventually made all my eyelashes fall out, so I'm just happy that I have any eyelashes left whatsoever. And because of that, I now use Glamnetic. I thought they were a scam, to be honest. When they first came out, I waited about a year and a half before using them, and they've completely changed my life. I love them, they last, they are so cost effective, and they're probably my favorite. So I have half lashes, I have bigger, fuller lashes, I have a whole entire Christmas book of lashes. So I am not sure which ones I want to pick today. I will tell you some of my favorites that I use on stage are Virgo, Lucky, Venus, and Vogue. That's so funny, most of them are V names. So for today, ooh, I think I might go for Gossip. Gossip looks fun, and it's a little bit fuller, a little bigger. The one thing that I will say that I have a little bit of a beef with Glamnetic, okay, is for years, they have sold extra packs of their lash anchors. And because of that, I have not ever needed to use their liquid liner. It's not my favorite, to be honest. It does work, but it's kind of gloopy, it dries out. They do now have a magnetic eyeliner pen, so that's really cool, and we're gonna give that a try. I've tried it before. It just doesn't hold as well. So what I have always done was I've taken 3 lash anchors and I do the outside, the middle, and the inside, and they have lasted every show through everything. But they don't sell these anymore, and that's my beef with them, because I cannot get more refill packs because your lash anchors do inevitably, when you take them off or you're doing something, they disappear. They're tiny. Glamnetic, if you're watching this, please bring them back. Please, pretty please, with extra sugar on top. We will all thank you and love you and buy even more from you if you do, I promise. So my best advice to you is I got this magnetic eyeliner on Amazon. It's really good. It's definitely better and cheaper than the Glamnetic one. I think I got 2 of these for like $12 or $20, something like that. This is Luxilia Magnetic Eyeliner. All I do is I go over the eyeliner I've already done, right along the lash base, and I make sure I get a good amount on. And then I just give it a second to dry. You don't want to put the lashes on when it's wet. You want to put it on when it's kind of tacky. And they're so easy to apply. I'm literally just going to line up the edge to my eye. And I'm just going to pop them on. And just like that, I have my lash. Easy peasy. And if they do come with lash magnets, you're just going to stick a magnet on the outer corner and inner corner underneath. But just like that, they snap right into place. Now your eyes are done. Last step is to do our lips. Today I am going to do a classic red lip, since that is just so theater of us. I don't get to wear a red lip in a lot of shows anymore, so I'm very excited to get to do a red lip again. For my red lip, I like to do something a little more Marilyn, and I like to use a couple colors. I'm going to line my lips using my MAC liner. This is actually the same liner that I use when I do Madonna, and cannot read the name of this anymore. I think it is Silent or something like that. It's a really pretty classic red. If you have smaller lips, you can definitely overline them. I just follow my natural lip shape. If you don't want to buy a MAC lip liner because they're a little pricey, I gotta tell you, my favorite lip liners are actually NYX lip liners. Almost all of the other lip liners that I use for any show are from NYX. So now that we have our lips lined, I have 2 different shades of red. I also have, I'm not sure where they are right now, but my new favorite lipsticks are from Maybelline. They're the Maybelline Superstay. This is not the shade I'm going to be using today, but I wanted to show you guys. I love these. I have 2 of them in red, and the first time I used them for Maryland, I put them on right before I went on, so they were what I thought was going to be wet. So when I kissed the guy on his cheeks, that you'd see kiss marks. And they dried down so fast. He had no kiss marks on his cheeks. I like them a lot. They're very easy to put on. I highly recommend these. I'm gonna go in with my MAC lipsticks. These were given to me by a friend. This one is Ready to Go, a little bit darker, and then in the middle, I'm gonna do Anything Goes. Go in with my darker shade on the outside. And then I'm going to put my brighter shade right there on the inside. And if you get a little bit messy, kind of like I do, what I like to do is 2 things. I like to go back through with my lip liner, and then I like to take my concealer brush and just clean up the edges. Now that our makeup is all done, all we have to do is set it. If you really need your makeup to set and hold and stay, I have the product for you. The Krylon Ultra Setting Spray is a really great choice. This is the setting spray that Cirque du Soleil actually uses to set their makeup for their aquatic show. So if it can hold up with people dancing and swimming and doing Cirque du Soleil stuff in water, it should definitely be able to work for you. I'd normally do this, by the way, before my lashes, but honestly, I forgot again. And you're just gonna let that dry for a sec. Setting spray will also help melt all the powder in together and really lock everything into place, which is great. And that is the finished look. That's it for today's video, and I hope that you found some great products, tips, and tricks for how to create a great basic stage makeup look. If you have any questions, or maybe you want to share some of your favorite products for stage makeup, put them in the comments down below so we can all help each other and learn from each other. Other than that, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that little notification bell so you guys never miss another video. And until next time, with fire and grace, I'm Rainix.